Hello, Agnaldo.
Yeah, hello, Vincentas.
Can you introduce yourself briefly to our journal readers?
Yeah, so my name is Agnaldo Arroio. I'm from Sao Paulo University, from Faculty of Education, Department of Methodology of Teaching and Comparative Studies.
Okay. It would be very interesting to know a bird's eye view of education system in your country in general, that is from primary to tertiary level. Can you describe the education system in your home country?
Yeah, I think that in the last decades, we are having a lot of changes in the educational system for the whole country. And exactly now, there will be a big change because until the middle of this year, it is expected to implement a kind of common curricula. That means 60% of the curricula for all of the country should be the same, independent if they are in the north or the south, and the other plus 40% should be adaptive for different contexts, regions, states, municipalities. So, but I can tell a little bit about what is happening now. So basically, the system is structured in that we call as fundamental education, that it takes 9 years from the first grade to 9th grade, and plus plus 3 years for a kind of secondary education. It's similar to higher education, yeah, or high school, in fact. And after this, they are able to apply for admittance exam for university to go for the tertiary level. That in generally it takes more or less 4 or 5 years, depend on which career that they choose. And after this undergraduate course, they can continue or not. It depends on then their interests or their needs to go for graduate studies, master degree in general in 2 years, and PhD degree in general in 4 years. But before to start this formal education system, they have this kind of childhood education. In some states or in some cities, the system is included in the whole system of educational, yeah. And in general, I think that most of the cities, it's included from this early childhood education from around 3 years old, I guess. Yeah, it's in a public system, so it's a kind of take care places because it's not really formal. I mean, in this sense, they are not so interested in teaching content, but just to provide experience for teachings for their development. Yeah, for this whole system, since the early childhood education until the PhD studies, we have both approaches. One is public and another one is private. They are controlled from the Ministry of Education and also from each states. They have some organization to control for the government part. But as a huge country, it's necessary to consider this kind of private schools or private universities, because otherwise the state cannot offer for all of the population these possibilities. But as you know, also it becomes a private, it becomes business. So sometimes you don't have really serious people behind these institutions. Of course that some privates it's really competent and really serious one, but sometimes it's not so. In general, we have a system that the people should be personally in this place, but it's starting to increase, especially for graduate and undergraduate studies. Institutions that offer the whole courses is just by distance, like e-learning. They don't need, in fact, to stay in the place. Until now, the educational system in Brazil is compulsory. It means that if his students don't go to school, even it's public or a private one, they cannot continue to study university. It's different from different countries that you can study at home with your parents or relatives, something like this. It's mandatory in Brazil to have this education from different institutions. And I guess that you can have some idea, but of course that it's just the general idea about the system in the country, because there is a lot of difference from different regions, different areas in the country.
Thank you. Another question, because it's obvious that teaching is a very important profession, and teachers need to be well educated. How teachers are educated in your country?
Yeah, again, as a huge country, you have different possibilities. Yeah, in general, to be a teachers for elementary education, they need to choose for the career that is called pedagogy. Yeah, they can specialize in to be a teacher for elementary education, or to specialize for manager of schools or other subjects related to. And to be a teacher, also for early childhood education, they need to do this kind of pedagogy course to be a teacher. And this degree, it's from the university, so you need to have a tertiary level. It was different because in the past it was a kind of to be a teacher for elementary school, it was possible to go to vocational schools. Now, for the whole country, yeah, the rule is to have the tertiary level, to be a teacher since from early childhood and elementary education. To be a specialist for different subjects, as a teacher for chemistry, mathematics, geography, history, physics, chemistry, biology, and all of the others, they also need to have a degree in tertiary level that is called licenciatura. Yeah, it's almost similar to bachelor, but they have a lot of subjects related to education and methods of teaching and policies on education and different courses. Until now, it's not obligatory to have a master or PhD degree. If you have a master or PhD degree, it means that you are habilitated to teach in the tertiary level. Yeah, but as I said, it's a huge country with a lot of people, and it's a real problem for Brazil now, for the government need to face with this big problem is the lack of teachers in different fields, but it's more sensible, especially in natural science areas. It's approximately 55,000 of teachers about chemistry, physics, biology, and mathematics. It's missing a lot. It means that possibly you can have some of these teachers teaching at school, but they have a kind of engineering bachelor degree or just mathematics or physics or chemistry bachelor degree. They are not specialized in licenciatura to teach. Yeah. Otherwise, if you don't have them teaching, you don't have teachers. So it's a real challenge for the government to increase the number of well-qualified teachers. And in this sense, it's increasing a lot of numbers of these e-learn courses for preparing teachers. But it's not the same experience, it's a different experience. We will see in the next future how we can, in fact, reach this big lack of teachers.
Usually in Europe, not only in Europe, but also in Lithuania, we speak about so-called good school and a good teacher. What do you think, what does it mean to be a good teacher?
Well, I guess, in my perspective, to be a good teacher, it should be someone that he had a good educational level, not just about the subject that they are going to teach, but they should be an open, or at least have an open-minded, especially to understand the new generation that year by year it's coming to school, students from different perspectives, that nowadays they really can access a lot of information using ICT, for example, that it was really different in the past. Yeah, the knowledge is more centered in teachers. So now I think that the students already get a lot of information, but how to change this information for knowledge. So in this sense, to be a good teacher, we would like to have some people really committed with this career, and really a kind of flexible and adaptive person, because every day, according to the development of technology, we will have more apparatus that the teacher should at least dominate it or be introducing these kind of things to make classes more relevant or more interesting for students. Otherwise, if you still haven't the model of classes like just the transmission of knowledge, probably the students will be not interested in going to school, and we'll have a real problem in the future. So I think that in this sense, a good teacher should be someone that well qualified, but also well prepared to face with this all changes that you are living now. Yeah, someone really adaptive for these different contexts, and especially different cultural contexts, as we are living in a multicultural world. And these teachers also need to be ready to face this multicultural world.
And my last question about students' motivation to learn, because some recent studies in different countries shows that sometimes we can observe not so good or lack motivation to learn. What about Brazilian students?
Well, again, taking account the huge country as Brazil are, we have a lot of different realities. For some of these students, they are really motivated to go to school, to study, to learn, because it depends on their social condition. For some of them, it's the only opportunity to change their social position or social status in their lives. Some of them are not motivated, especially when they face some teachers that are not well prepared, and they are just thinking about the transmission of knowledge. So they cannot engage students in activity. It's quite boring. And sometimes, well, why to go to school if they can reach all of this information or this knowledge by the internet, just access the computer or mobile devices? So I think that I can say that we have a huge variety of possibilities. Yeah, some students are really engaged because it's a chance for them. Some are really bored and not interested because of the system, because of the situation, and because of the lectures that are really not interested for them. And some of them just thinking about they need to study, to continue studying, to go to the tertiary level. But also, this is not the main aim of the education there. It's also to prepare for citizenship. Yeah? But somehow, sometimes it's not clear if they are preparing to continue study or if they are preparing them to be good citizenship in this multicultural world. I think that as could be possible, as much it should be clarified for them, more clear, they could be more interesting. But again, it depends on when you consider different regions and different realities in the country. Yeah, because some of them, in fact, that the school it's not attractive for them, and from the others, even it's not attractive, it's the only option. So they need to engage themselves. It's more by themselves than from the school, in fact, that are engaging the students.
Thank you. And on, let's say, additional question, because you are visiting, from time to time, you are visiting Lithuania, let's say, quite often. And what is your, let's say, general impression about our country, about our university, finally about our students?
Yeah, I think that in general, the impression is a positive impression. It's interesting for me to compare the cultural situations that is really different, and it's really clear for me that maybe it seems at the first moment it's a little bit easier here to manage with different deals, engaging students or infrastructure, because the number of people, institutions, teachers, it's not so huge number of people. So it's easy to control, or at least to support most of them, because you can reach all of them. In a huge countries, when you have a lot of people, it's more complicated to do this kind of things. And the difference between different regions, it's huge gap that you can really find. It's not easy to have a kind of standard or common sense of them. But in this sense, for me, it's interesting because I can see that how it should be if you have a small amount of people, for example, to control. And also to see the behavior of students. I think that in general, it seems that our students, they are more close to teachers, to question or raise questions every time, all the time. And it seems it's less formal system, even in school and even in the university. But it's really interesting to have a chance to see different realities, to think about it. Because when you just know or you just live one kind of experience, it's difficult to have an empathy, to put in another place and to think with, or at least try to use different eyes or different views. I think that this exchange is really important to expand your mind and think about different possibilities and how you can deal with this. In this sense, it's really positive experience for me.
Thank you, Agnaldo, for your good communication and fruitful communication. And on my behalf, I wish you good luck in your activities, in your future, and in general for Brazil.
So, ačiū, as you say in Lithuanian, there's few words that I'm learning. Yeah, and we can still continue sharing experience and put more people involved, because in this sense also they can expand their minds. So thank you.